Did you know that there is a diminutive-sized country where ancient architecture seamlessly transports you to a bygone era, all while coexisting with modernity? Here are 10 interesting facts about this tiny European nation that may surprise you. Luxembourg, the smallest landlocked country in Western Europe, bordered by Belgium to the west, Germany to the east, and France to the south, has numerous fascinating facts that you must discover before your visit, because there is much more to Luxembourg than meets the eye. It may be a small country, but it is still considered one of the richest countries worldwide. Residents of Luxembourg earn double the income of Americans and maintain one of the lowest GDP debt ratios. According to forecasts from Trading Economics global macro models and analysts, Luxembourg's GDP is expected to reach $88.26 billion by the end of 2023. That's a whole lot of euros. The country is positioning itself as a growing technological and data center hub, attracting numerous major corporations to establish their European headquarters. This appeal is likely bolstered by favorable tax conditions, making Luxembourg a tax haven for Europe's wealthiest, the elite, the cream of the crop. Whether one is considering relocation, visiting, or investing, Luxembourg is an attractive option due to its openness to international investors and the availability of tax incentives. After the defeat of Napoleon in 1815, the Congress of Vienna made Luxembourg into a Grand Duchy, a state or territory ruled by a Grand Duke or Duchess. Luxembourg, a Grand Duchy, boasts a unique governance structure led by a Grand Duke, in this instance, Grand Duke Henri, who assumed the role in 2000 after his father Jean's abdication. While the title of Grand Duke is largely ceremonial, the country's affairs are effectively managed by a parliamentary system under the guidance of a prime minister. Adding to the enchantment of Luxembourg are its numerous castles, adding a touch of fairy tale charm to the landscape. And as the cherry on top, Grand Duchy is home to over 70 castles, each with its own story and character. There could be over 130 chateaux in that area, but it's a bit tricky to classify them all. Some are like big houses or manor houses rather than the typical castles. Also, they're not all in the same condition. Some are being fixed up, while others are standing as reminders of history, ready for a royal tea party or a medieval-themed Netflix binge. Even though there are some differences in how we describe them, many of these buildings still look really grand. They're an important part of Luxembourg's culture and architecture. The official count, as recognized by the government, affirms the presence of over 70 castles, each echoing the country's fascinating history and adding a touch of regal allure to the Grand Duchy. They care about their people. Even the Grand Duchess's birthday was changed. Luxembourg's National Day is celebrated annually on the 23rd of June and is meant to recognize the birthday of Grand Duchess Charlotte. However, her actual birthday was the 23rd of January, but the date was changed, and celebrations were shifted to the summer for the more favorable weather conditions. Now, National Day is celebrated throughout the country with fireworks, live music, and other outdoor festivities. Think America has congested roads due to an excess of vehicles. Take a look at Luxembourg, where, at one point, the ownership rate reached a staggering 647 cars for every 1,000 people. The highest in the world according to an International Road Federation study dated 16 Jan 2009. The situation becomes less surprising when you factor in that nearly half of the country's workforce consists of cross-border workers commuting from Belgium, France, and Germany. In a more recent development highlighted by a Eurostat study, 22% of cars in the Grand Duchy were classified as new in 2020. In this context, new refers to vehicles purchased within the last 2 years at the time of data collection. Luxembourg led the pack, with France, Austria, Germany, and Belgium following closely behind. In all these countries, new vehicles constituted 16 to 17% of the overall car pool, providing insight into the continuous evolution of Luxembourg's dynamic and well-populated roads. But even their lowest figure in 2022 was still something around 40,000 new cars hitting the roads. In 2022, a total of 42,094 new car registrations were recorded in Luxembourg, and that was the lowest figure since 1999, 40,989 cars. Perhaps understandably then, Luxembourg's petrol is one of the cheapest in the EU. Fans of wine will love coming to Luxembourg and exploring the delicious wines. Luxembourg offers a treat for wine enthusiasts, and one must-visit destination for connoisseurs is Restaurant Chiggery. Famous for holding the world record for the longest wine list for over a decade, this top-notch establishment is a paradise for wine lovers. You may choose from more than 2,200 different wines at the Chiggery restaurant, which were produced by talented winemakers from France, Luxembourg, and other nations. The best part is that the restaurant is beautiful as it is set against a historic building in the city. If you find yourself in Luxembourg and have the time to spare, a visit to Restaurant Chiggery promises a delightful experience that tantalizes both the taste buds and the senses. The country was owned by foreign powers in the past, but wished to remain independent. A fascinating fact about Luxembourg is that it has been passed from one European power to another, the French, Spanish, and Austrians, and back to the French. Despite gaining independence in 1815, Vienna gave it to the Dutch king as a personal possession. Having lost more than half of its territory to Belgium in 1839, Luxembourg became a fully independent, neutral state with the Treaty of London in 1867. The country pays unskilled workers a minimum of €2,571 per month, 2023. Skilled workers earn at least €3,085 per month. This is roughly $15 87 cents per hour, which, according to the World Economic Forum, beats Australia, $14.97, as the country with the highest minimum wage in the world. However, Luxembourg has one of the highest costs of living globally. The tiny country ranks 6th on both the 2021 Corporate Tax Haven Index and the 2020 Financial Secrecy Index, FSI, measuring the world's biggest private tax havens. Interestingly, investigative journalists leaked some 28,000 tax agreements, tax returns, and other documents at the end of 2014, exposing how around 350 of the world's largest companies, including Pepsi, IKEA, Procter and Amp Gamble, JP Morgan and FedEx, were able to save millions by using schemes made possible by Luxembourg's favorable corporate tax laws. LuxLeaks showed how companies set up complicated accounting and legal structures to legally move their profits from the high-tax countries where they have their HQs to low-tax Luxembourg, and in some cases pay less than 1% in tax. While the government promised reforms, these had yet to come to fruition 7 years later. Since the 29th of February 2020, you no longer have to pay to take the train, bus, or the brand new tram. All public transportation in Luxembourg is free for both residents and tourists. Keep in mind, however, that if you want to travel in first class, you will have to buy a ticket. When visiting Luxembourg, be prepared to interact with people from all over the world. The city's population is made up of 170 different nationalities, and the number of foreign-born residents grows substantially each year. Luxembourg had 645,397 residents on January 1, 2022, with a total area of 2,586 square kilometers and an average of 249 individuals per square kilometer. This makes it one of Europe's most densely inhabited regions. The 5 largest foreign communities in Luxembourg are Portuguese, French, Italian, Belgian, and German, accounting for 31.1% of the city's population. Are you going to visit friends or family in Luxembourg that you haven't met in a long time? If you are, and they invite you to their home, then you must get a small gift for them. This can be anything from flowers or a box of chocolates. This is a custom that everyone follows because it is considered rude to go to someone's house without any small token of appreciation. It is one of the interesting facts about Luxembourg that tells you a lot about the customs. In Luxembourg, it's not just a custom, It's a symphony of hospitality, where flowers and chocolates are the notes that make every visit a sweet, blooming success. So, whether you're dreaming of being a modern-day royal or just want to explore a country where every hill seems to have a castle on it, Luxembourg is your fairy tale destination. Just don't forget to bring a crown. You might need it to fit in with the local architecture. With that said, thanks for watching, and be sure to tune into our next exciting video.